Cheers to everyone for watching. My name is Mitchell Hall. I am Canadian and I review Canadian albums. And today I'm going to be reviewing the new Robbie Robertson album, Sinematic. Hey buddy, have you read this yet? Well, it's been up on your shelf for like 2 years now, eh? So Robbie Robertson is probably the oldest person that I've reviewed on this channel so far. He's like in his 70s. I have not been in that territory in these reviews yet. Some of you may know Robbie as the lead guitarist and one of the songwriters of the legendary rock band, The Band, who came into the 60s and 70s music scene by backing up singers such as Ronnie Hawkins and Bob Dylan, later getting to a point where they would write songs on their own. And if you want to see more of that catalog, I suggest you watch or listen to The Last Waltz. And it's funny that I should bring up The Last Waltz because it highlights Robbie's partnership with director Martin Scorsese. Scorsese had directed 1978's The Last Waltz, and since then, Robertson and Scorsese have been working together on soundtracks for Scorsese's films. Sinematic shares ties to two different feature films. One of them is Scorsese's his new film, The Irishman, which features the opening track, I Hear You Paint Houses, featuring Van Morrison. And Robbie Robertson had produced a film documentary on himself called Once We're Brothers, Robbie Robertson and the Band. And this title shares the name of a track on Sinematic as well. Robbie definitely came into his own sound in the late 80s with the rise of bluesy soft rock in popular music, which is why his most acclaimed record is his first solo record in 1987. I personally grew up listening to songs on that album such as Somewhere Down the Crazy River, as well as the track that Rod Stewart would later cover, Broken Arrow. The storytelling and dreamy instrumentation mixed with Ronnie's spoken word style singing has remained an element in Robbie's music up to Sinematic. I really like the acoustic elements of this album, especially the very grainy drums and the very foggy shakers and auxiliary percussion. We get notes of wispy flutes and harmonica performances, some groovy fretless bass, and of course, Robbie's lead guitars, which are either finger plucked or played on slide guitar. This all makes for a very nice sonic template for Robbie's spoken word lyrics, which obviously on this album tackles sin. Robbie has an observational writing style, and through his observations, we kind of get the sense that he's accepting how things are. Whether you're discussing sin in terms of killing, as on the song I Hear You Paint Houses. This song is a direct reference to Scorsese's story, which involves hitmen. And also on the track Shanghai Blues, in which Robbie is painting a portrait of some Chinese godfather, Chinese mobster. Robbie reflects on war and destruction through the songs Hardwired and Let Love Rain. He reflects on guilt and loss on the song Once We're Brothers. Some topics involving horror fascinations, especially on the song The Shadow, in which he recounts some kind of 1940s radio show featuring Orson Welles. And of course we hear about sin in terms of love on the song Beautiful Madness, as well as on the song Walking Beauty Way, which predominantly features a vocalist named Laura Satterfield. And I'm a little cheesed that she didn't get the feature on her track that Van Morrison had on his. To the younger audience like myself, I found this record to be a bit inaccessible just because of the slow jam and late 1980s feel of all this music, especially the keyboards and the fretless bass. I would say the first 2/3 of this album pieces together quite nicely, but the last third feels disconnected and slightly more indulgent for its own good. The track Beautiful Madness is sung pretty much in spoken word, and I felt it left the backup singers on this track pretty stranded. And on The Shadow, I felt the timing of the last verses were like not on time. They were misplaced and they were lost with the rhythm section barely backing Robbie up. I also wish for a better closer to this album than the 5.5-minute instrumental Remembrance, which pretty much features harmonica, cello, and Robbie's slide guitar just trading off solos. Listening to the last 4 tracks of this album made me wish for a better conclusion overall. Still though, this is a pleasant release, and despite what I said, it is a really nice listen. It definitely shows what the old man can do in his golden years. And if you were ever a fan of 1970s music, of late 80s music, and wanted to hear what Robbie was up to, I'd give this thing a shot. I myself, a child of the 2000s, and feeling like a decent 6 on this record. If you liked hearing what I had to say on Sinematic, make sure you check out some of the music, and also check out more videos on Stereo Picture Society, my channel. Like this video if you enjoyed it, comment with your thoughts if you had listened to the album or have some critiques of your own. Share this video with your friends and that one nephew of yours that really likes rock music, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out to see that the channel's growing. So cheers again for watching. Special thanks to my subscribers as well. My name is Mitchell Hall, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one out there. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to read it. Fuck. Watch me. Watch me read this for you. Oh, here we go. It says, Mitchell Hall is a loser.